It's science, science, science. It's science, science, science. It's science, science, science. It's measurement and liquids, but not liquidity. It's polymers and acids and bases.
Acid.
Acids and bases. Like folic. Sometimes it could be lots of things we haven't discovered yet because it's discovery every day. It's SCIENCE.
Science.
I'm very excited today. Oh, that was a nice little music. We're gonna have to start a music program.
I felt inspired. First space, then history, then music. Well, my friends, welcome to the Science Show. My name's Miss Rebecca with the Shaler North Hills Library. Hello, Ingrid.
Hi.
How are you on this sunny Tuesday?
I love science.
Science is always an adventure, and science is science. Science is not magic.
It's not magic. That's magic down there.
Is down there.
Mm-hmm.
So today, my friends, our first order of business, as it always is to clear our lab space.
The lab's looking a little crunchy today.
It is looking a little crunchy, but we don't need things loitering about the lab that we're not going to use.
Mm-mm.
So we'll put our microscope in here.
Okay.
We'll move our scales.
Okay.
We won't be needing the ruler.
Oh.
Or maybe we will.
All right.
We're not going to use the floppy tape measure.
Okay.
We're not going to use the beaker, funnel 1 or 2.
Okay.
We will not be using the leveler.
I hope someday we will use the leveler.
What would we use it for unless we built?
Who knows? That's science.
It is science.
Yep.
We won't be using the rocks, but we'll keep them up front here because they look naturey.
Okay.
We won't be using
Clamps.
the clamps, and we will not be using this.
Okay.
Which, yeah, we won't be using that.
Yeah.
So, my friends, you are by now familiar with Vicky Cobb and Kathleen Darling's exquisite exploration to the scientific mind. Bet you can. Science possibilities to fool you. This was listed as $2.75 back in, I believe it was 1983.
Yep.
1983 is the copyright, but you know, some things, as old as they get, they're still wonderful.
Timeless.
So, my friends, we're going to get started. Our experiment today is called Quite a Ribbing. Bet you can balance a sheet of newspaper on its edge. What do you think? Oh, we'll use the leveler to hold this open.
Oh, look at that.
That's called being resourceful.
Which is also science.
Is it?
I don't know.
So here's our piece of newspaper.
Remember when the Post-Gazette used to be good?
Yeah, well,
It's like
that's
a rag.
why I figure we
Right,
can use
right.
it now.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
these are our own opinions, though.
Right. They do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the library, but they do reflect the opinions of Mr. Asparagus because he was
Yes.
just talking about the Post-Gazette this morning.
Was he?
Well, and how like it used to be like a paper you want to read, but now it's one just for your litter box.
So,
Yeah.
my friends, oh no!
Oh,
What's
the telescope
happening?
fell out. I like the outfit.
Thanks. It feels like thin cardboard. So, what we're going to do is the setup. Crease a sheet of newspaper across its diagonal. So, we're going to fold it like diagonally. I think of it as like diamond shape.
All right.
That's not scientific. That's just how I think about it. So, we creased a diagonal. Then, we're going to fold back each side about an inch from the crease.
Is this origami?
No. So I'm going to flip it over.
That's art.
And then I'm going to take one side and I'm going to fold it about an inch.
The ruler!
We'll use our ruler. So
It's
an inch
measurement.
would be like to here. Well, I think this is an inch wide, so we'll use it as a guide.
Okay.
But you don't need the ruler.
Hey, I have a unrelated science question.
Hmm.
Is it honestly about 2 degrees in here today?
No, I'm okay.
Oh.
But I'm warm. So then we'll flip it over on the other side and do the same thing. But newspaper is very it's a little hard to work with. So we'll get our ruler, which we're using this time along with the leveler to hold the book open. But that's okay.
Is this going to make an iguana?
It's not going to make an iguana. Why would you think iguana?
An origami iguana.
No, we're not doing origami. We're bet you can balance a sheet of newspaper on its edge.
Okay.
So, crease a sheet of newspaper across its diagonal, which we did. Fold back each side about an inch from the crease to form a rib, as shown in the picture. So, this is what they're referring to as the rib.
That's the rib?
That's the rib.
Okay.
Now the newspaper will stand up on edge when you balance it on your hand. I don't see how that's possible. And I did
what
not-
do you mean on its edge? Does it have a picture?
Yes.
Okay. So, standing up on the rib. All right, let's see.
I'm skeptical. Got my folds. I'll come around so there's a fold. God. Fred, you should see missing space right now.
So you're supposed to be able to balance it,
On your hand.
like what part of it on your hand? That? Oh, like that?
Yeah, but that's not going to work.
Well, here's why I
Do you
think.
think I used the too big side of paper and I should use the half side?
No, here's what I think. I think since 1983, like has less pulp because they make it cheaper and cheaper.
Wow.
Yeah, I bet. I bet that does have something to do with it.
Wow.
Yeah,
I bet you're right. Because we did the steps.
yeah.
We went diagonal. And then we made our rib. Because here's our rib. Gosh, I'm having flashbacks to the parking lot. There's our rib.
Yeah.
And then she's just holding it.
I bet it has everything to do with how the composition of the paper. Composition.
Composition!
Yeah.
But we have a new
Oh, the
word.
periscope fell out.
It's the microscope.
We've called it a microscope, a telescope, and a periscope.
It's the magnifying glass.
Yeah.
And it almost fell on my foot.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Dr. Ing? Do you think we should try with a shorter piece of paper? Or do you think
You mean
this
like a half
experiment
sheet?
just didn't go well?
Let's just try it with the hat. I mean, what can it hurt? You know?
Let's find
If there's anyone out there who can tell us the difference in the composition of newspaper from 1983 to 2020, then we can run those specifics through our lab and see if indeed, or if anybody has a copy of a newspaper from 1983 that's been saved in a vacuum where it hasn't been exposed to the elements, so it hasn't decomposed at all.
Yeah, give it to us.
Yeah, if we could use that.
I don't think that will work because if you had a newspaper vacuum sealed, it would be for a special reason.
Maybe this experiment, like maybe it really worked back then, and they were like, dude, in case they change paper, I want to make sure I can balance a newspaper on my hand with a rib.
Well, friends, we've got our half sheet of paper.
All right.
I still feel, I didn't feel doubtful beforehand because if any of you have tuned in before and you saw last week's Checkers episode, it was, you know how they talk about Luke and Laura's wedding? I mean, I know it was a problematic relationship, but back to the days of TV when you'd remember things like that.
Like when Judy Garland sang the Battle Hymn of the Republic on her show, which she didn't get to do because CBS said no, it would be too political.
Back to the quainter days.
But you can still see it on YouTube now, and it has come out. Google Judy Garland and the Battle Hymn of the Republic. She wanted to sing it in honor of John F. Kennedy because he had just been assassinated. It's beautiful. All right, so now you'll be able to balance that on your hand. See, that paper's so cheesy, it can't even make a rib.
I don't know, friends. I think despite the wonder of the checkers experiment last week, next time for science, I may have to go back to my roots, which is slopping in liquids.
Nice.
Because this just hasn't, this is profoundly.
Well, roots are, liquids have not changed since 1983. Water, anyway.
Yeah, or oil.
Yeah.
I have the liquids one I'm going to do in mind.
All right.
So.
It's okay. Vicky Cobb, Kathy Darling, they never could have anticipated.
Foreseen. They could have not
foreseen. That's
this.
more science. Yeah, yeah.
But if we were back in 1983,
Yeah.
which is over 30 years ago.
I don't know.
Yes, it is over 30 years ago.
All right. Oh, okay.
A lot of high into the 30s.
Okay.
You had math today.
I know, but we only got up to 14.
Okay. It might be 37 years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so what was supposed to happen, the fix. Folding materials often makes them stronger by deflecting and diverting force. Engineers and architects make use of this fact in the design and construction of buildings. Another common use is the corrugated or folded paper used in boxes. Even animals like bees are aware of the fact that the shape of a structure affects the strength of the building material. A honeycomb cell makes strong wax, or makes wax stronger. So friends, I feel like the science behind this Bet You Can quiet ribbing experiment, it is indeed accurate, but they could just not have known that newspaper would be made of different elements 30 plus years into the future.
Do you think that's why, like, I know I had a friend who's a bee, and around when they started to make the change in the newspapers, like, she was really upset.
A bee?
A bee, a honeybee. And she was upset, and she says that's not gonna work. Well, she is still a friend, still is a honeybee, but when the Post-Gazette announced that they were going to different composition of their newspaper, I remember her saying, that's not gonna work.
Why did you choose a honeybee?
Because they make honey, and they were mentioned in the book. Because honeycomb bees, remember?
Yeah,
because they make
for their honeycombs.
Right. And sometimes she would enjoy making things out of paper. It's science, science, science. It was science, it was science. Oh, yeah, it's the closing song. It was science, it was polymers, it was cheap paper, it was fundamentals of composition, and it was formulations. It was SCIENCE.